that's dangerous. You need to have a job. And so when I go back and share with them the new, the business that I'm working on, they poo-poo my dream. So I'm just gonna hide. I'm just gonna keep it to myself.
Like,
I'm not gonna ask
hi.
anybody for help. I'm not gonna ask anybody for help, right?
Guys, welcome to the Levelin Up podcast with Brigham Blackham. I've got my good buddy Tom Robinson. We're both here in Colorado. So grateful to have an opportunity to share a little bit with you guys, some real estate ideas and also some things that may be challenging your mindset. And I think it's super exciting. Now, this is one of the best kept secrets that saved his life, and it could save yours too. Now, I'm curious, Tom. If this is the best way to describe you, this is the way I like to think of Tom. He's a real estate genius. He's a keynote speaker, and he's just a stud muffin. Is that fair?
I'm going to need you to start calling me each morning to give me a little wake up message. That
Oh, I love that. You're welcome. No problem. I'm so glad you're here, brother. It's so nice to spend.
I'm a fierce advocate for liberation of the human spirit.
Yes. Liberation of human spirit. Now you bring that up. Now I feel like I need to understand, what do you mean by that?
So what we're talking about today is the best kept secret.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so simple that if we just said what it was out of the gate, people would go, duh, and it would make no difference. So let's build a little context, shall we?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Let's go back to that Chicago apartment. Let's go there for just a moment, because every time I'm around you, I was like, man, I need to relive it. But go ahead, Tom.
All right, about 8.5 years ago, I had a moment that probably everyone listening to this can relate to, and your circumstances will be different. But my circumstances were, I was standing in the living room of a drafty Chicago apartment, and I had a box as my coffee table, and I had a air mattress to sleep on. I had a beautiful, beautiful pit bull, and she ate better than I was. And I just looked around and I was like, how did I get here? Right? Like this wasn't the plan. Mid-30s, broke, sleeping on an air mattress in a drafty Chicago apartment. When I was hanging out with my buddies when I was 7, talking about the life I was creating, that just didn't make the list. Right. And I hope that nobody on here has had it quite that bad. And I recognize that most of you probably have. And I've had the opportunity to talk to thousands of people, and very, 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 very few of them would say, right now, my life looks the way that I want it to. And it looks the way that I thought that it was going to. And so mostly people feel trapped, feel small, feel closed in, feel like this isn't what I wanted. And I don't know, I'm not clear how I got here, or I'm not sure how to get out. And my biggest joy in life is having conversations with people to help them discover that. How did I get here? How do I get out? And it's really simple, and it's not easy. And so I was looking around going, how did I get here? What am I going to do about it? And what I've come to realize is that we're enculturated to be indentured servants. We're trained to be cogs in someone else's machine. As a country, we abolished slavery, but as a culture, we really haven't, right? So for most people, if you say, why did you get up and go to work? The answer is something like, I got bills to pay. Right? If I don't, my life doesn't work. Why'd you go to work today? Because I don't want to be homeless. Okay, well, that's not very inspiring, Brigham. Right? Why did you get up and go to work today? Because I'm clear about what my passion is, what my purpose is, the direction I'm going. I have the resources, I have the support, I have a clear vision and a plan. And today was a glorious execution on that. Right? That's not most people's answer. So I was in the drafty Chicago apartment, and a buddy of mine called me and said, Tommy, let's do real estate investing. And I said, no, click.
No, I love that.
What? You jerk. He knows I'm sleeping on an air mattress. Let's do real estate investing. How could you even, the audacity to even suggest, right? $100,000 in debt, tore up credit, air mattress. Let's do real estate investing. I was not enthused, Brigham.
Yeah.
Fortunately, he was a good friend of mine, and he kept talking to me, and he's like, no, man, like you can get into real estate. It doesn't matter what your current situation is. There are options. You can get in and you can do things, and I remember hearing people joke about Carlton Sheets in the 80s and his infomercials about buying real estate with no money and no credit. And I heard people talking about that in a disparaging manner. So with no investigation, I just assumed that Carlton Sheets was a charlatan. I've come to discover that when I was 7, I should have bought Carlton Sheets course and started buying real estate without my own money and credit. So he kept talking to me and finally got me to come out to one of his stupid real estate investing things. And the conversation went kind of like, dude, just come to this thing. And I went something like, I'll come if you promise that we never have to talk about this again.
You're like, just come to the event. You're like, you better see it first.
Right. It's like, Valerie has some Carlton Sheets VHSs.
Thanks, Valerie. She's like, I did it. No, I went down that path.
Yeah, send those over to me with a VCR.
I don't even know where you get a VCR now. Go to a thrift store or something.
They're built into those old TVs with the DVD player. That's the oldest one I've seen recently.
Perfect.
So I'd been to things about real estate investing, and it's my experience was just a sales pitch, just it felt like a way to take advantage of people. So that was, I had all of these preconceived notions coming into this conversation. I didn't have the money. I didn't have the credit. Nobody actually wants to teach you how to do that. Not really. Not unless you have a pile of money that they're going to, get a piece of. And so I was jaded. And he kept asking, and I said, okay, I'll come out to your stupid thing. I'm pretty sure I said it just like that. Just promise me that after I come to your stupid thing, we never have to talk about this again. We can talk about this is always talking about. I'm all excited. So I went to a stupid thing, and what I discovered was a community of people who get together week after week after week, engaged in not only learning real estate investing and entrepreneurship and business building principles for themselves, but also it's a community of people that care about and contribute to each other. And it really rocked my view of what's available and who's available. And really what I've gotten clear about is that the knowledge, the relationships, the resources for anything that you're really passionate about, that you're really committed to, are available.
Yeah.
And that's not what we're taught. Right, Brigham, I can tell by your accent that you were educated in the United States.
That is accurate.
And it's not just education in the United States. It's our modern educational system looks something like this. Okay, Brigham, you're 6 now. So now you need to get up about 7 o'clock in the morning. You need to spend about an hour getting ready and get to another building where other people are going to tell you what to do and tell you what you're worth for about 8 hours a day, about 5 days a week.
Do I get recess? That's fine. Keep going. No, you're right.
I bet you got recess. You were
I
probably
probably did get recess, even if it was only in my mind. I had some great ADHD. A dude has dreams. That's what that Rob Sperry's the one that gave me that little line. I love it. So you go to a building.
Yeah.
6 years old.
You're 6. Yeah. And then you're 7. Hey, Brigham, wake up, leave your house, go to another building where other people tell you what to do and what you're worth. And then you turn 8. You know what you're going to do today? You're going to get up, you're going to go to another building where other people tell you what to do and what you're worth. And you're 9, and you're 10, and you're 11, and you're 12, and you're 13. Get up, leave your house, go to another building where other people tell you what to do and what you're worth. And you're 14, and you're 15, and you're 16. Brigham, get up, leave the house, go to another building where other people tell you what to do and what you're worth. And you're 17. Now, legally, you're 17. Now in all 50 states, you can stop doing this if you want to. Right? Some states 16, some states 17, where you can legally stop doing this. I have a feeling that if you woke up at 17 and went, I'm not going to do this anymore, your family would not have rejoiced.
Like, you're dropping out of high school? What are you thinking?
No, you're not.
Are you stupid? You're like, didn't you listen for the first 16 years of your life?
Are you trying to ruin your life and break your mother's heart, Brigham?
Like, oh, it's getting real.
Right? Because what we're told, whether you follow this path or not, what we're told over and over and over and over and over again is get good grades, get into a good college, get a good degree so you can get a good
job.
And that's how life works. And I loved college. I fell in love with economics. I was in a class, Brigham, this auditorium with 300 people, and 299 of them hated economics. And I loved it. I loved it. Macroeconomics, microeconomics. People are like, this sucks. And I was like, I love this. I love this. I love this because I got it. Right. I had an econ class where I didn't go to class for 3 months because you didn't have to, because they're not counting 300 people. And I went to the midterm and I got 100. And I was like, I found my thing. I'd never had any experience in school where things came that easy.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I love this thing. And I was getting a degree in economics, and no one ever really talked to me about what that looked like after the degree. But I was like, I'm going to be doing awesome things because I love doing this. And then my last class, my instructor walked in and said, okay, now you're going to have an experience of what it's like being an economist. You're going to have an experience of what your career is going to be like. This is my last class in my degree program. And I thought, we probably should have led with this.
Yeah.
Should we not have started here?
Like, this is the last thing before you go. Like, yeah. Oh, man, what if you hate it? Right?
Yeah. Right. What if you find out in that class that what your job is going to be is using statistics to lie for your corporate overlord? And you don't really want to do that.
Corporate overlord. I love that word choice. That's awesome. Oh man.
Right. So we're taught that what we need to do to have life work is go to school, get good grades, get a degree, and then go work for somebody else. And we've been trained since we were 6 to get up, leave the house, and go to another building where someone else is going to tell us what to do. Someone else will tell us what we're worth. In school, that's a report card, and at work, that's a paycheck. Right? So we're enculturated, we're trained. There's a view of the world that gets formed in that environment, right? Yeah. And most of the people that I talk to and interact with would love to run their own business.
Yeah.
Right. Or that's what they say. But it's not it's not often actually the running of the business, because mostly we haven't had the space or the support or the even learn the right questions to ask to figure out what is it that we're really passionate about? What is it that would really be fulfilling? So mostly when I hear people say that they want to start their own business, what they mean at first cut, what they mean is, I hate my job. I'm tired of waking up and leaving my house to go to another building where someone else tells me what to do and what I'm worth.
It's just like right under the surface boiling. You're like, I hate my job, but I can't say it. Like,
Right?
I
Can't say it, I'll be homeless.
oh man, can't say it because I'll be homeless. Yeah, that just right there, right on the surface. I get that.
Yeah. Well, and it just take a 30-minute drive around a place with other people, and you can't help but notice that a lot of people are stressed out and angry.
Yeah.
Right. So when I talk about being a fierce advocate for liberation, what that looks like in my day to day is having conversations to empower people to actually find what their purpose is, find what they're passionate about, find what they're committed to, and begin to pull back the layers of our training, of our education, kind of uneducate ourselves to have the freedom to create something new.
Yeah. I think that
Right.
that's such a great like way to think about weird liberating people through education, but it's from their previous education. So it's like, oh, the only way to actually break free of some of the false beliefs we have is to actually create new beliefs, to create new passions, and to connect them through a system like this. So let's go a little bit deeper. So when you do that, what does that look like in real time? Like when you're talking to someone, like, man, this is how you help someone create that reassociation from I need a job to I hate that job to, oh, and I want to start a business. Because people don't usually start a business because they want the business. They start a business because they want the benefits of owning a business. They want the benefits of the lifestyle, they want the benefits of the community, the benefits of the system that allows them to feel the admiration, to feel, man, I did this and I have something of worth in this world. So let's go deeper there.
All right, good. One thing that I want to say about that is that's such a great reason to start a business. And in the absence of support and communication and communion, like you and I are doing right now, in the absence of connecting with other people who are up to that, it's brutal hard. It's, you go look for statistics about the percentage of businesses that fail.
Right. Yeah.
And I think, well, in my experience, mostly people go, okay, I want to start a business, but I don't necessarily always want to tell people. I kind of want to I want to go build it and have it be successful. And then I'll tell my family that I built a business.
Does it work that way? You're like, hey, I'm a dentist. Great. They're like, I'm so glad you went to school and got $400,000 worth of debt. But if you're like, hey, I started a business,
Right.
you definitely, you get
Are you
crickets.
nuts? That's dangerous. Have you seen the statistics on how many of those fail?
We're like, well, I would have, but Tom didn't show up from economy class and become an economist, so I didn't have the lies that I needed. So
so when I'm working one-on-one with somebody, the first thing is really we just have a conversation to uncover, because there's so many things for us as individuals that are hidden from our view. I'm sorry, my FaceTime is on. So as you and I are having this conversation, you can, just in what I'm sharing, you can start to see for yourself places where you get stuck in that kind of like, I've been taught that I'm supposed to behave in a particular way. The people around me are in that paradigm of get a job, get a job, get a job, get a job, have a job, need a job, right? Now, Brigham, I know you, and I know that you've put yourself into environments and situations where mostly those aren't the conversations happening around you. But for most people, they are. So if we have the opportunity to have a one-on-one conversation, it begins with really getting connected to these are limitations that I experience based on that environment, but it's not true. And so as human beings, we walk around and we have opinions, we have points of view, we have assertions about how other people are, about how the world is, and mostly we don't question our own view. You know how cousin Timmy is,
Cousin Timmy.
right? He's
Give me
just
start on cousin Timmy.
everybody knows how cousin Timmy is. Right? I've got a view about cousin Timmy. I don't need to think about that anymore. I don't need to inquire anymore. I don't have to ask any more questions about cousin Timmy. I just know how he is. I know how my boss is. I know how my coworkers are. I know how these things are. And the way that our brain works is it figures out how things are, labels them, and then doesn't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah, it's like, oh, completed. Next. Instead of saying, maybe there's some things that I don't know that I don't know.
Thinking is really expensive for our brain.
Yeah, a lot of energy.
Right?
A lot of energy.
So labeling things just makes everything so simple.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, labeling things does shrink our life and our view of what's possible and what we can see and how we can interact with people. No, I see how the world really is.
You got the little blinders on. Yeah,
Right.
great. This is exactly how the world is.
Exactly how the world is. So in a one-on-one conversation, we can really dive in and see what are your limiting beliefs? Where are the places that you get stuck? Where have you decided that things are a particular way that get in the way of you asking the kinds of questions that would open up the knowledge and the resources that you need to actually fulfill on what you're committed to? That being said, there are a lot of people in the world, so I don't have a chance to talk one-on-one with everybody.
Right.
So one of the things that we do is we create events, we create trainings, we create, a Saturday intensive. We create an opportunity for a bunch of people to plug into a conversation where, 100 or 700 or 1,000 people at a time can start to hear stories and see things and discover someone else having had a breakthrough in a limiting belief that then allows for a breakthrough in my limiting belief. So it's a way of creating an environment that's about entrepreneurship. There's it's an environment that provides an opportunity to really shift our point of view.
Yeah. Tom, let me add something really quick because I think this is so key. There is a word called a scotoma, right? It's a mental blind spot. And this is this idea that we don't know that we're blind to some things until we have the conversation, until we hear someone else go and say, oh, I had this as well. A lot of times those stories are the things that remove those mental blind spots or those limiting beliefs. So let's hear a story from you, Tom. What was one of the limiting beliefs that you had before you were a business owner that you're like, oh, I didn't even know that this was a thing until I heard this?
Well, I started my first business when I was 5.
5-year-old business. You're like, was that a lemonade stand? What was
Might
that?
have been 6. I made little origami change purses and I sold them door to door.
Awesome.
Yeah, don't tell the IRS because I never reported that income.
75 cents. Come on, man. No, you probably made some good money on that. That's great.
Yeah, my mom bought the paper, so my cost was just 0.
Nothing. It's your time. It's great.
Let me share a limiting belief that I discovered while I was in the drafty apartment.
Great.
I thought that I'd started at this point. I'd started a couple businesses. Two of them I had partners that took over. A couple of them just kind of fizzled out at various levels of success. But then I had a massive failure. And one of the blind spots that I discovered about myself is that I believed that before I could go get support, before anybody would be willing to help, before I had enough personal value to even ask someone for help, I had to go have a win.
Mhm.
And really, probably I had to have a business win that was bigger than all of my business failures put together.
Wow. Interesting.
And yeah, that's a completely unworkable point of view, right? So I've just failed at business, which makes me a failed business person. And now, in order to get out of this failed business person has to create a wildly successful business by himself.
Like, this is not adding up. It's kind of like a basketball player that's like, hey, I want to win this game. I just lost this game, but I'm not going to practice. I just need to make sure that I win the next game way better than I lost the last one.
Right. And in order to get the people on the team to want to play with me, I have to go win the next basketball game all by myself.
Yeah, 1v5. Like, I got this. I'm the best players in the world. That's not realistic, right?
No, no, that's not going to happen. Um, and there are lots of opportunity. There are lots of opportunities, and if you don't know where to find, if you don't have an experience of having breakthroughs and shifts in your perspective on a regular basis, then go find places that you can do that. There are a variety of them. Landmark's a great one that, our group has, every day we have an opportunity to go and change your mindset and your view about something. So go find that. But the biggest thing is, for many of us, at least 12, and often, as many as 20 years, we're in that, like, leave your house, go to another building, where other people tell you what to do and what you're worth environment. And we have a mindset that's built up on that. So, so I discovered, like, oh, if I'm relating to myself as a failed business person, and as a failed business person, what I need to do is go create a successful business. That's not gonna turn out. And that was something that was a blind spot for me. Like, I can articulate that now. I couldn't have articulated that the day before I discovered that blind spot. So one of the things that's great with blind spots is when you discover that you have a blind spot,
Yeah.
it loses its power. It loses its, its its influence on how you see the world. And you need to, because of how we work, we're, habitual animals. It's required to put ourselves into environments, into situations, create structures for accountability where we continue to operate consistent with what we've now said that we're committed to.
Yeah.
So if I didn't have this community, if I didn't have our group, if I didn't have an opportunity day after day, week after week for 8.5 years to put myself in environments where people are at work on developing their entrepreneurial chops, and developing the mastery of different real estate investing strategies and business building skills, if I wasn't in that environment over and over and over again, then my machinery, if you will, would probably just have me on an air mattress over and over again, right?
And that's the pattern, right? If we don't make a change, and we don't change our, not only our mindset, our skill set, and our tool set, but the people that we surround ourselves with, we won't even recognize that we have that scotoma, that blind spot, and we will just stay in complacency, stay where we're at. And that doesn't sound like the life that I want to live. I mean, doesn't sound like the life you wanted to live when you're thinking when you're a little kid. You're like, man, what do I want to do when I grow up? I want to live on an air mattress and let my dog eat better than me.
That's
That's
right.
probably not the dream that you shared with your second grade teacher, right?
I want to go and try to figure out business all by myself,
Oh man.
because my family said, that's dangerous. You need to have a job. And so when I go back and share with them the new, the business that I'm working on, they poo-poo my dream. So I'm just gonna hide. I'm just gonna keep it to myself.
Like,
I'm not gonna ask
hi.
anybody for help. I'm not gonna ask anybody for help. Right. And yeah, there's so many of us that get into that trap.
Mm.
And one of the things that I really appreciate about what you're up to and with this podcast and just kind of who you are as a person is your obvious and unflinching commitment to helping people discover ways to empower, expand, and grow themselves.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, Tom, let's come here for just a second, because I feel like you have such a wealth of experience, and you've been able to strip away so many of these blind spots in your past. What is it today that you're like, this has made all the difference for me? This is the thing that has changed everything. If you could boil it down to one thing, what would that one piece of encouragement be?
Just one.
We'll start with one. We'll start with one, right? What's the one?
Um, in my business life, the getting connected with Renatus is the thing that's made the biggest difference. And the education's top, right? It's actual education, right? It's like, actually, here's how to build a short-term rental business. Well, here's how to structure and like protect a business. Like, how does this whole thing begin? Here's how to lay the foundation for a financial life that really works. Right. So, on average, Americans are 2/3 of their money go to the bank and the government, and they bring home 1/3 of the money that they've earned and wonder why everything always feels so tight. So just beginning with the foundation of transforming your relationship with the IRS so that you're not tipping the government. And then, we're taught how to use the bank's tools by the bank. So learn how to use the bank's tools to your own benefit and cut the amount of money that you're paying the bank over the course of your life by 2/3. Right?
That sounds like a good idea. Just cut out some of that interest, right?
And all of a sudden, even if you don't make any more money, you have twice as much money coming into your life. And it's basic, it's foundational. It should have been taught in high school, and it never will be, because taxes pay for high school. They're not going to teach us how to morally, legally, ethically cut our taxes, right? So there's like the tactical, here's how to build the foundation, and then here's how to build a short-term rental business. Here's how to build a fix and flip. Here's how to build a business that liberates you from the need for a paycheck and gives you the space to create life. And that's great. If that's all it was, I wouldn't be where I'm at, for sure. Because in addition to that, we have a community of people. We have opportunities to put ourselves into environments, into events, into trainings, into conversations like this. We have an opportunity to plug in and continue to open and expand our mindset, to discover new things, to continue to be inspired and motivated, and and really to have the experience over and over and over again until people like me get it through our thick skulls that I'm not alone.
And you don't have to be alone, right?
To be.
Man, that
and I used to think that, someone who was successful at something wouldn't want me to know how they did that. I've had the experience of going to, I actually became a real estate agent for a couple of years because I wanted to learn real estate investing. This is part of why I was so jaded when Noah called me about this thing, because I'd become a real estate agent in order to learn real estate investing. And I talked to people, and my experience was they were like, shut up, kid, and do your job. I'm like, hey, how do you do that? And they're like, I'm not telling you. One of the things that I discovered being part of this group and being someone who loves to share about real estate investing and business building and what have you, is if you had no experience, none, no background, you'd done no work, you hadn't learned anything, came to me and you're like, Tom, I'm a blank sheet. There's nothing on this page. Will you fill out all of the instructions on how I can, right? Tell me how to build my business. There's nothing I can do with that. I can't help you with that. And so I was going to people going, look, I, you're doing what I want to do, and I want you to stop doing that and teach me how to do that. Like it just that doesn't work. Um, I have to do enough work to go from being a liability to being an asset to someone. Right? I have to have enough. I have to have developed enough of my own knowledge that I can even participate in the conversation.
Yes.
Right? So, and this experience I have, and I love it, and I love it, and I love it. So, my partner Ash and I started a short-term rental company. We've launched 19 short-term rentals so far, and we'll be out to dinner with somebody, and they say, "Man, that's awesome. Tell me how you do that." If they have no knowledge, it's a very vague, useless conversation. But we have people in our community who've decided that that's what they want to do, and they get the basic training. They learn the basic language. They kind of they come with a good understanding of how it works, but nuanced questions.
Yeah.
And then they can ask a specific question, and we can we can fill in gaps in a way that's really rewarding.
Mm.
And as a community, we do this, right? Like Alex has traveled the country and put together 40 something, I think. I don't know. And so he's farther along the path than I am. So I can ask him a quick question. He can give me a really powerful answer that shifts my business. And we had a conversation for an hour, and I ended up increasing the net income from our business by almost 10% out of that conversation,
Um,
which is, which is the kind of the other end of the spectrum. So I wanted to share with you, Brigham, from my perspective, there are three phases to this process. There are three phases to business building or wealth
Mhm.
building, you could say.
Yeah.
And the phase one is foundations. So what's required is learning the things that we weren't taught in school about what it takes to build a business,
Mm.
what it takes to lay the foundation, the tax and legal strategies, the, you know, self-directing my retirement, my own retirement. Because if I have an employer, I might have a 401k match, which doesn't work, but that's still still I can feel good about putting money into my retirement account. But as a business owner, someone's not doing that for me. So there are foundational things that I need to understand for the foundation of my business. And in doing that, what I'm doing is I'm beginning to learn a new language.
Mhm.
Right. And I'm beginning to learn a language that allows me to have conversations with other people who are building business.
Right.
Open up those relationships, open up the conversations that make a difference. So phase one is really laying the foundation.
Build
And
the foundation. Got it.
yeah, and people who participate in our program, that foundational development, it depends on where people are. I've seen people take 30 days and radically transform their financial landscape. And for some people, it takes, a few months. Um, but that's the foundational phase. And there are those of us, Brigham, how long have you been at this?
I've been at this 4.5 years.
4.5 years. Yeah. So 4.5 years in, 8.5 years in, there's still things in the foundation for us to tend to.
Yeah.
So that never goes away, but that's like the place to start. And then phase two is developing a mastery in language.
Mm.
So you and I could have an in-depth conversation about short-term rentals, and we would share an experience, and we would share vocabulary, and we would share a language that would allow us to have a high-level conversation in that. And if you find yourself stuck on a particular thing, you can call and ask me or Alex or any number of us a very specific question, and we can have a really powerful and quick conversation. So the second phase of wealth building or business building is mastering a new language.
That's so key.
Yeah.
I mean, this is learning very specific things, very specific skills, very specific vocabulary, because if you use the right language, it unlocks your world. But if you use the wrong language, people are like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. If you lead with, I don't really know how to communicate this, then
Like,
you're not on, you're not on the court. Got to get on the court.
right.
And we have 400 plus hours of high level training on different niches of language to develop. So we have we have a great place for people to go and master the language, plus the community, plus the multiple weekly different places where people can plug in and practice in an environment that's no risk.
Yeah.
which is, just going out there and trying it without having a place to practice is really expensive in real estate investing.
Oh my goodness. Like one deal can take you out of the whole game if you don't know what you're doing.
Absolutely. Starting a business or real estate investing or really building anything outside of the, you know, framework of having a job, as far as I can tell, is something you should practice and train for.
Mm.
And then the third phase is contribution. When I first learned about our group, I was sleeping on an air mattress. I didn't care, Brigham, I didn't care about you and how you did. I didn't have the space. I didn't have the space to turn my attention out to other people because I was so like, I gotta deal with this situation, right? Like,
Mm.
and then started laying the foundation and shifting the way that my financial life worked, which provided more of a platform and gave me the room that I needed to really dive in and start developing my own facility with the language of investing and business building and practice the conversations with people so that I could start building a business that, I mean, Airbnb sends us money almost every day.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh, it's so fun.
It's so
It's like
awesome. So fun.
the phone goes, bing, more money. And it's like,
Thank you,
right,
Airbnb.
great. So I learned how to set up a system that manages, manages this financial flywheel. It's great.
Mm.
So the foundation gives space to begin developing mastery in that language. And just side note, Brigham, that's never going to stop, right? You're 4.5 years in. I'm 8.5 years in. Bob Tierney's 18 years in.
Yeah.
Right? We're never going to stop this process of growing and connecting. So the second phase, the first phase we keep tending to. So we keep tending to the foundation. And the second phase, we keep expanding our mastery of language. And the third phase is contribution, because what do you do if you don't have to go to work?
Your passion. You do what will make the most impact. I think that's what gets me excited about doing business, is not running the business. It's what does the business do for me? What does it do for the opportunity to give back, to increase my lifestyle, be with my kids as they're growing up? Like, changed everything for me when I saw I have a little tiny girl that when I first got started, I had a brand new baby, and because of COVID, I was like, well, this is a little scary. I'm gonna stay at home while I'm teaching high school, and then going away. I was like, am I gonna bring back something that could kill my baby? It was terrifying.
No
And
doubt.
then being able to walk away from my job 2 years ago and say, wow, even though I'm not making it like the crazy big bucks, I'm doing okay. And it's liberating to know that I don't have to have a job to be able to make ends meet.
Yeah.
You can do a job or you can have a job. And I was
Right.
like, I think I'm going to just do the job and do it in the best way that I can. And you get the language, like you said, you articulate it well, and then you get a little better every single day. And I love being around people like you, Tom, because that's what it's about, is we are not just doing this for ourselves. We're contributing. We're able to give back. And then as we're giving back, it's crazy. Well, one of the things I've learned is as you're willing to open up and share, you don't lose anything by sharing your knowledge. A lot of times you actually gain extra insights because you're willing to open up and share that. It's like your cup is overflowing. You're like, oh, here, come catch some. Come catch some. Right?
Yeah.
It's so awesome. So how do you contribute? What are the things that you're like, man, this is now where it's not just about me. It's what can I do to give back? How can I continue to participate? Continue to let those new people that might be in that drafty apartment, maybe not in Chicago, maybe they're in Phoenix, maybe they're in Salt Lake, wherever.
Well, if they're coming out to one of the events that I host, they're probably in Denver.
They're probably in Denver. That's fair, because that's where
We do have some drafty places here in Colorado. I got connected when I was in Chicago. I got connected with a community in Chicago, and I've had the opportunity to take on, Ash and I lead the Denver Renatus community. So the sort of most fun opportunity for me is hosting events and leading conversations that has people who feel stuck or don't haven't yet discovered, like, what is the path to liberation? How do I get out of this situation? Because I've done everything right. I've done what I was told. I went to school, I did the thing, I got the job, I got the wife, I got the 2.5 kids and the dog and the fence, and I feel like I'm suffocating. Right. So what is the path out of there? So we get to host trainings and events and cash flow parties and social outings. And ultimately, they're all designed inside of creating an environment where people can come and see something new as possible and get access to the training that gives them the language to support developing the relationships that give them access to the resources and the systems and the really the step-by-step way out of where they are into a space where they have full freedom to contribute. Because that's, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I can tell, that's really what it's about, being a human being. And what I love about our community is that it provides an opportunity to be developing in all three phases at the same time. So you don't have to finish foundation to start mastery to get to contribution.
Mm.
You get to shift your foundation, and in the process of strengthening that and mastering language, be a contribution. So we have opportunity after opportunity to contribute and have people have the experience of having their life make a difference, which is an accelerant for really building the life that you're committed to.
Love that. And one of the things that just brought up to me is, like, you don't have to wait to contribute. A lot of times, I kid you not, some of the most valuable contributions have come from people that have only been in for a few weeks to a month. You're like, that was so amazing what you just shared. Because all of us have insights, expertise, and a lifetime of experiences that can add value to a group like this. So people are like, oh, you just want our money, right? Or you just want to take from us. And we're like, no, we actually want to give, because the more we give, givers gain. You think about it. We want to add to our community because we don't believe in just, oh, a zero-sum game. If I win, you have to lose. It's, well, if I win, Tom wins, and all the different transactions, all these win-win scenarios, the entire group is elevated when we have more people come. So Tom, what is a question that I didn't ask you that you wish I would have asked you? You're like, hey, this is something that's important that I want to bring up.
Brigham, you know that cutting your own path has its challenges,
Yeah.
has its difficulties, has those late night moments where you go, what have I done? especially when we're new, right? You gave up a job. There had to have been moments shortly thereafter where you went, what have I done?
Yeah, scary.
So the question that you didn't ask me is it worth it?
Mm.
And they're dark and challenging moments, and there will be times where you have deep self-doubt and where you feel like you're alone, even though you're not, and you second guess yourself. And there may be times where you fall on your face and you find yourself sleeping on an air mattress. You're dealing with that stuff, and there will be times where it feels like it's easier just to do what we're taught. It's not the best, but it's safe, right? But as far as for myself and for thousands of people that I've gotten an opportunity to coach and make a difference with, at the end of the day, there's nothing more fulfilling than being able to stand in your own power, in your own connected, grounded, and look at what you've built, and take off the leash that was put on starting when we were about 6, right? And really having the experience of having the experience of having liberated myself and getting to support, empower, and watch other people as they are liberated is unquestionably the most fulfilling and life-giving experience that I have. So through all of the challenges of moments of darkness, the self-doubt, the anxiety, like just those moments, and in those moments, what I can see I was doing was breaking the old patterns. Right. So any of those difficulties you can see as breaking the chains, breaking the patterns, opening something new. And it's simple, it's not easy. Sometimes it's incredibly difficult, and it is 100% worth it.
Love it. It is worth it. And guys, if you're thinking, hey, is it worth it for me? Come find out, right? We reach out. That's it, right? It just comes down. We may be a little bit of an acquired taste because we believe in living our passions and doing things that are hard at times. Like real estate, it is not easy. It looks sexy at times, and then other times you're like, oh man, this is really challenging, but it is worth it. And I think that's the key. If it's worth it, we might as well put some time and energy and effort to get that language.
Yeah.
So any final thoughts before we sign off?
Yeah, it's also a lot of fun.
Oh, it's so much fun. I love it.
That bit was a bit heavy, but so much fun. It's totally so much fun.
That's so true. Well, thank you so much, Tom. I love you, man. I love you more. It's so grateful to have an opportunity to speak with you this morning and to introduce you to more people in the audience. I am so thankful. Anytime I'm in Denver, I always look to see you, and I appreciate you. You are a light in our community, and always a pleasure to be around you and Ash. You guys are awesome. So once again, thanks. Guys, if you want more of this Leveling Up content, I'm here every single Thursday, 8 a.m. So grateful to have awesome people like Tom that I can communicate with. And all of you, feel free to like and subscribe. Have a wonderful day, and God bless, guys. Take care.